Hello and welcome to Thoughts in the Green Room with your host, Geoff Mace. This week, I want to tackle an interesting and challenging question. What is the artistic journey? It's a philosophical discussion which we plan to delve into and definitely not answer while we walk through the walls of the green room this week. With that in mind, let's step in and see where this conversation takes us. Over the years, I've been asked the question, what is my artistic journey? Why did I pursue this artistic path, or varying versions on that style of question? It's a question which I personally have an answer for myself, obviously, and I believe that it's a question that every artist needs to answer for themselves. And in that respect, because it is such an individual journey, what is the artistic path or what is the artistic journey has no definitive. And although it has no definitive, I do believe that there are many commonalities for many artists, and having a basic understanding of some of those commonalities may lead existing artists and future artists down a path that can help them better understand themselves and the art that they produce. Now, having said all of that, I want to start off with a small group of artists who I feel are maybe not exempt from these commonalities, or maybe not exempt from the ability to answer this question, but are a unique breed of individuals who understand themselves and understand their craft so innately, so intuitively, that they never seem to have to question it actively. They may question it. They may have their private moments or their public moments where it's questioned, but it never seems to be prevalent. I've had the fortune of working with and conversing with a few individuals who sit in this interesting, unique category all over the years as I've met individuals. And it always surprises me how effortlessly and how simply these artists seem to express themselves and pursue their craft, and typically, as a result of that effortless nature, are able to quickly and effectively rise to the top of their game and make their living, pursue their dream as their job. They're a special breed, and they have something that I personally don't understand. And in talking to other artists, that these other artists definitely don't understand or get, but it is truly a pursuit in which we hope to attain this effortlessness. And the only way in which this effortless expression of art comes through is by understanding the self, by digging in and learning what it is we want to do and what we want to say. And those basic questions are what lead to the commonalities that I see among so many artists. With that said, we come back to this idea that art and the artistic journey is an individual path to be walked by each individual alone and solo, with support from others for sure, but in the end of the day, the end of the times, that expression, the way that somebody has put themselves forward in that vulnerable position as the artist, it's their own. And recognizing that is the first step in being an artist. And once you've recognized that you want to do that, it boils down to this idea of understanding where and how it sits within you. As an actor, one of the things that I have read, one of the things that I've been told, and one of the things that I hear others have been told and have read constantly is, if there is anything else you can do and you like it or you want to do it, then do that instead of pursuing acting, because acting and this artistic pursuit is insane and crazy. And if that is the basis for so many instructors to give to students of this craft and other crafts, I'm sure, then for those of us who do pursue it, we need to start off by identifying that we have this desire. We need to come to an understanding that the desire to express ourselves artistically cannot be satisfied by anything else on the planet. And it is because we are so wrapped up in that desire, and that is the only thing that fulfills us, that we must journey forward, seeking a way to define and understand what that desire is and what that expression will be, in order to feel successful for ourselves and potentially successful as an artist in terms of a career, in terms of an income. And once you've understood that desire, the first real thing comes down to asking some key questions. What are you as an artist willing to sacrifice in order to pursue your craft? Will you sacrifice relationship? Will you sacrifice a standard of living? Will you sacrifice life comforts? Where is the line you as an artist are willing to draw in order to pursue or not pursue your craft? This naturally folds me forward into the second question of what is the point at which you will stop? At what point do the outside forces become too much so that you don't see value in continuing your pursuit of the art? Is it the desire to have a home in a stable environment? Is it the desire to have a stable relationship or someone who can stand by you comfortably? For many, it's the idea of having a family. And as struggling artists, many people can't venture into supporting a family or ensuring that a child is well taken care of. So they give up the craft to find full-time employment or active means that will provide money in order to raise a family. That question, like all other aspects of the art, are individual questions that need to be answered. And once they are answered, and I'm going to pause for a second and say they may not be answered by one sitting. They may not be answered when you're 15 or 20 and you're just thinking about becoming a painter or an actor or a writer. You may realize when you're 40 or 50 that the answer to it's time to stop is now. It's not a question that happens overnight. It's a life journey. But as you move forward along the path, those questions need to be prevalent. Is it worth accepting that gig that is pro bono yet again, knowing that you're going to have a problem getting groceries this week? Or is it time to say forget it and go get a real job, quote unquote, on a real job? As you move forward along that path and you start to recognize the desire can't be fulfilled by anything else by the craft, I think the next process that many artists go through is understanding what it is that they really want to say with their craft. Are you dealing with the current times? Are you using your art to support the less privileged, the underrepresented, the racialized, the downtrodden? Is that your path? Is that what you want to do? Is your craft something that you do because you seek personal fulfillment? That if you don't do this, you will always be sad or listless. So by painting a picture, you feel connected and therefore can function differently and more effectively. Again, questions that are self-serving, that are important to understand. And as we start to pursue this, and we start to gain a clarity for what it is we want to do, I believe artists who have answered some of those questions and start to get a focal point, realize and understand for themselves that they become technically more proficient at what they're doing because they have a focal point, and through technical proficiency have an increased opportunity and an increased chance to start to make a living by it. Quick example, if for myself, I'll use me as an example. It's easier that way. A quick example on this is that I know I prefer drama, and working towards dramatic performance and deep, powerful shows gives me a focal point to hone my practice in class, to discuss with professors and teachers about how I can work and tap into that set of emotions so that I'm more skilled on that aspect than maybe presenting something via comedy. As I get more proficient working on that dramatic nature, I have greater opportunity at landing a dramatic role because I'm more proficient at it. Again, this is a question. I'm going to keep saying this throughout this green room, that this question doesn't have to be answered as a be-all and end-all. As you grow with your art, these answers may shift, they may change, they may be redefined, and it's important to recognize that. And as one becomes more technically proficient with their work, they start to get glimpses and ideas on how they can present themselves, what they can do to get to that place where they want to be with their technical proficiency. And as we get closer and we start to get glimpses of, oh, this works, and all that works, and this means I can move here, as we start to expand ourselves into the area we want to go, we start to see other aspects. And those other aspects of art are where we start to question again. Oh, wow, I didn't realize the connection between drama and comedy. When I was younger, I had no idea. I just want to do drama. But as I started to understand the value of comedy within drama, I started to understand that I wanted to do more comedy. And how did I have to hone those skills? And now I was in that question of, well, what do I really want to do as an actor? Do I want to be a comedian? Do I want to be a dramatic performer? Do I want to be on stage? Do I want to be on screen? You can see all these questions that percolate, that rise to the top. And I think it's important as an artist that we, again, address these questions and start to hone in. And as we start to delve into the different aspects and we start to get glimpses of what we can do, we start to hone each and every piece. And in honing those pieces, we start to understand how it is we want to express, what it is we want to express. And that is the next level, in my opinion, of what is it we really want to express? What are we saying as artists? Are we abstract artists, getting people to bring their impressions to your work, to define from that perspective? Or are we realists? Do we represent a realistic picture of the world that we live in currently and have people potentially easily reflect on what we've done in a realistic view? Each version that we choose to take is a level of expression, and for some, that abstract version and that abstract expression is going to be much more fulfilling than somebody who's following a realistic path. There are so many ways in which we can express and the ways that we can do it. It's important for the artist to have an understanding of where, what, and how. And once we've started to define what it is we want to say and how we want to say it, we really have to start to hone our message. The reason why I bring all of this forward is obviously because the number of times I've been asked, so how do you do it? How do you be an artist? Or what is your path? Why do you pursue it? Obviously, to engage in that conversation, that's where it started. But I've realized as time goes on that that the more I answer these questions, the more I define and understand what I want to say as an artist, the better I get at my craft. The more pinpointed, the more focused I am, the more efficient I become at presenting. It is this journey that we go through of understanding in its base form, in its biggest form simultaneously, of constantly reassessing ourself and delving into ourself to reflect the human condition in our art, that we start to define what it is we're doing. I've spoke to artists all over the world. I've been speaking to artists ever since I was young because I knew at a very young age I wanted to be an actor. And time again, this one major common point comes up. Artists need to delve into themselves and understand what it is they are trying to say and trying to express in order that they can put it to page or screen or paper, novel, whatever choice it is, that they need to voice it and find a way to do it. For any artist that I've ever spoke to who says that they're lost, that they don't know what they're saying, they don't understand, or they can't relate to what's going on, those individuals typically produce work which they are not satisfied with, and often as a result, their audience is not satisfied with the result because the result is unclear. It's too vague. And one of the key aspects that I've learned about through art is that people observe art in all forms in an attempt to find themselves within the art and express through the art what they can't do for themselves. I want to say that again, that all people seek out art in order to express something that they are unable to express themselves. People go to art for a cathartic experience, whether it be joy or sadness, whether it be escapism or delving into realism. It is a way for an individual to find art catharsis in their own life. So an artist who is not clear on what they're saying cannot relate to the audience, and the audience cannot get their cathartic experience. Thus, the clearer the artist is on what they're saying, the easier it is for the audience to latch onto and agree with or combat against that expression. And this last point about the cathartic experience is what I really feel separates artists from non-artists. I believe across the planet, every single soul, every single person has a level of artistic expression. We all do it. For some, it's baking a cake and putting that amazing icing job on it, and you're the best at it in your entire family. That may be your form of artistic expression. Point being that as much as, a Picasso may not see that as greatness, it's greatness for you. And it is an artistic expression. It's something that's different from the stereotype of what is seen as 9 to 5. The journey that the artist takes, though, is one that says, I need to express and I want to express beyond this cake. That's what I used in the example. They have an unimaginable desire to get it out of the body. And they want to share. They want it to be seen by others, and they want others to relate in order that this feeling becomes a universal. It's what we do as artists. And as much as everybody wants to express artistically, not everybody has that drive to get out there and showcase it to the world, and thus the difference between the artists and the non-artists. The non-artist has it a little simpler. They don't need to find within themselves in order to do their work per se. And they can follow a more traditional path that has many more opportunities to them. It may be easy to sit at a desk and crunch some numbers. An artist needs to figure out that they want to crunch numbers and how they're going to express the crunched numbers before they can actually do the number crunching. And that's the distinction. This is an ongoing discussion. This is a discussion that will never be answered in one sitting. It is a discussion that I don't think will ever be answered in the history of the universe, truthfully. It is one that I throw out there because it's come up again recently in discussion for a number of points. And I wanted to throw out some of these thoughts to you, the audience, so that you can ask yourself, if you're an artist, or even if you're not an artist, so that you can ask yourself some of these questions. But what is it you're trying to say with what you're doing? What are you trying to achieve with what and why you're doing it? How do you get there? What is the media you like working in the most? Why do you have 6 different medias you enjoy? And answering these questions and delving in and reflecting is what helps artists and individuals become better humans and better artists. So I guess with all of this back and forth and this very vague, loose topic that has no pinpointed outcome, the only thing that I can say about the artistic journey is that it is truly an individual journey. And in being such an individual journey, I encourage you as an artist or a non-artist to take the time and incorporate as part of your daily practice reflection on the self, so that you can better understand what it is you're saying, how you want to say it, and having defined those things, start to bring it to life within your craft. Take this discussion, chat with your friends, fight with your friends about it, do whatever it is, but bring this discussion forward and help yourself grow. Those are your thoughts from the green room, ladies and gentlemen. And I will see you in 1 or 2 weeks.